All right, so over the years, I have sent tens of thousands of emails with my open rates averaging between 40 and 60% on average for probably about the last decade. I've got an email list of over 10,000 people, and on average, I get between 4,000 and 6,000 opens with click-through rates pushing towards 10%. I wanted to talk about 4 different strategies that I employ that I know for a fact that are going to help within your own real estate business. So let's get into it. All right, the very first thing that I really want to encourage people to do is to separate church from state. And what I mean by that is separate your email marketing program or your email marketing efforts away from your client relationship management system, your CRM. This is a big mistake that I see a lot of agents make, and it's unnecessary. The reason why I say to separate from the CRM is because if you send out a series of emails, email newsletters, email marketing, and your client base, your current clients, your past clients, your sphere of influence, your leads wind up unsubscribing from your client relationship management system or your CRM, you're gonna have a hell of a time trying to get them resubscribed to that platform. So that is the number one reason. The number 2 reason that you should be separating your email marketing efforts from your CRM and putting it into something like Flowdesk or MailChimp or Constant Contact is because of the trackability, your analytics. You can actually see what people are opening, when they're opening, what links they're actually clicking, all of those things. The other great thing is segmentation. So this is something else that we're going to talk about quickly here in this video, but being able to segment your lists is absolutely key to your success. And I'll give you a really quick example of that. Let's say you send out an email to your past clients, and within that email, you've put a link. And that link there directs your client base to a web page that you've created that gives them an immediate value of their home, which you can actually do on other apps called Manus or Lovable, but that's a completely separate topic for a different day, different video. Point is that you put into the email some sort of call to action. There is a clickable link in there. So let's say you have 100 people in your database, and everybody opens up that email. Let's say you get an 80% open rate. So 80 people have opened up the email. Out of those 80 people, you've got 25 people that have opened or that have clicked on that link. You now have an opportunity to go ahead and make calls or send further instructional emails to those people that have taken action by clicking on that specific link. Those people could potentially wind up being future sellers of yours. So you've provided yourself an opportunity, a lead generation tool from your sphere of influence through email marketing. This is why email marketing is so powerful. Now, from what I know about most CRMs, this option is just not available. You're just not going to be able to do something like this. So making sure that you are separating your email from your email marketing efforts away from your CRM, absolutely key to your success with email marketing to your database. All right, this is piece of advice number 2. Stop using the fancy templates. I saw in this Facebook group just the other day that I commented in, people were designing these beautiful templates inside of Canva and willing to share. And you can take the templates and you put them into your CRM, and you can send these. They're beautiful. They're absolutely gorgeous, and they're so well branded. And this, that, and the other thing. I'm beating my head against a brick wall, thinking to myself, God, why are you focusing so much time, energy, effort, and money ultimately on designing templates that are going to do nothing but hurt you in the short term and in the long run? And so what you should be doing is not focused on building out fancy templates or utilizing the templates that are even in the email marketing platform like Flowdesk, like MailChimp. They actually have templates that are already pre-built in there, or utilizing templates inside of something like Canva. Like I said, the reason why you want to stop using these are right there on your screen. Number 1, you're going to wind up avoiding spam filters. By having these templates, these platforms like Google and like Outlook and Yahoo and whatever email providers people are using these days, they're designed to pick up on certain things within the email that they designate or that they see as junk or spam. And so what we want to do is try to minimize that as much as we possibly can. And one of the things at the top of the list is to get rid of using fancy templates. The second thing is that personal touch. When you go to a plain text format, when you're in a plain text format, it actually feels like you sat down and wrote that email out specifically to that client. Now, I think most savvy buyers, most savvy sellers, most savvy consumers these days know that they're on an email list. In fact, if you were to check out your phone and check out the series of emails that you woke up to this morning, you'll probably see that you're on a number of lists, and at the top of that email, there is an unsubscribe button right at the very top on an Apple iPhone. And so you can go ahead and the people can go ahead and just unsubscribe because that platform has picked up the fact that that you are in fact on a list. So they're giving them a quick out if they want it. Thing is that most people won't pick up on that. Go to a plain text to give them that personal touch. Second or thirdly, this is hopefully going to bypass the promotions tab. So if you're a Gmail user, you know that Gmail is split off into a number of different inboxes, and one of them is a promotions tab, one of them is a social tab, and the other one is updates tab. And a lot of times what happens is your emails that you send out through your CRM or whatever platform you're using wind up in one of those four inboxes. And so hopefully by going to a plain text format, you can bypass that promotions tab and go directly into the inbox. The last piece of this, number 4, the reason why you want to get rid of the fancy templates is just focus on the content. Get rid of the fancy header, get rid of the fancy footer and all of the clickable links. Like all you're doing is distracting your potential client or your past client away from the really good content that you're gonna be putting into the email that you want to direct their attention to. So 4 reasons why you want to stop using fancy templates altogether. Just stop, all right? Let's get on to the next slide. Okay, this is something that I learned the hard way. I can tell you from experience, you saw one of the previous slides, my open rates are hovered between 40 and 60% for about the last decade. And what I noticed was here about, 4, 5, 6 months ago, I wound up seeing my open rates drop. Like they were dropping down to 19% and 20%, 23%. I think that the highest that I got to was 27%, which is a massive drop. When you've got a list of 10, 11,000, 12,000 people going from, 4,000, 5,000, 6,000 opens every single week down to like a fraction of that, half of those numbers, that's fairly significant. That's a massive drop off in your audience. And so I would suggest even if you've got 100 people or 200 people or 300 people, if you go from like 50% open rates down to like a quarter of that or a fifth of that, that's a massive decrease in a total allowable market, to see the content that you're putting out there. And so making sure that we are segmenting our lists is a key thing. And one of the things that I did, I worked with AI to come up with a strategy. And what I did was I sent out a series of different types of emails to the list. And as soon as somebody opened up that specific email, so as an example, the first email that I sent out had to do with AI and technology. The people that opened up that email immediately got segmented onto a specific list that was only focused on AI and technology. The next email that I sent out had to do with marketing and sales. The people that opened up that email, they got put onto that segmented list, and then so on and so forth. I believe I built out 4 different lists. Now, what happens is I send out targeted content to those specific lists because those people are actually looking for that type of information. So it totally makes sense. And what I saw was my open rates start to climb back up. Now I'm back up to the last email that I sent out had a 51.7% open rate. The click-through rate was off the charts. It was 31%, which is just a crazy number for me. Like I said, on average, I'm around 10%. This one was almost 31.7, almost 32%. Absolutely incredible. So the thing is that I needed to make sure that my content was going to be dialed into the audience that I was targeting. I didn't want to just go blanket content, hope everybody's going to, be okay with the stuff that I'm putting out there. I wanted to get very targeted with the type of content tailored to the audience. So that's the first piece of advice when I talk about segmentation. The second piece of advice is that workflow. So if you've got 100 people in a list or 200 people in a list, let's say you're moving your contacts from your CRM, you're following my advice, you're pulling them out of Follow Up Boss or KV Core, whatever you're using, and you're putting them into something like Flowdesk or MailChimp or Constant Contact. My recommendation to you would be this. Number 1, segment the lists based on the content that they're actually opening. So hopefully you've sent out some emails previously and you know the type of content that your audience actually wants to open. Number 2, if you're migrating them over to a new platform, it's really important that you segment them down into smaller bite-sized chunks. So meaning if you've got a list of 100 people, I would segment into 4 different lists and only 25 people per list. And when you're sending out your first email, you're going to send out in 15-minute increments. So the first email goes out to the first 25, goes out at say 10 a.m. The next one goes out at 10:15, the next one at 10:30, the next one at 10:45. The reason for that is because you're sending slowly to these email providers to ultimately gain and establish the trust, okay? These email platform providers, they need the trust of the email sender in order to allow the emails to come through. If you just go blanket and you send out 1,000 emails and 500 of them are going specifically to Gmail addresses, Gmail is gonna flag that right away and they're gonna go, nope, sorry, ain't happening. We're going to start to shut this down, and we're going to really restrict the number of emails that actually come through from this specific email address. So making sure that you're starting small, you're sending slowly. As you continue to send content out to your email list, make sure that you're building that up, and eventually you'll get to a point where you won't have to send to segmented lists anymore in terms of size, only in terms of content, and you can actually send out to the entire list. All right, this is the last piece of advice that I want to give you. Look, I hear this all the time. I don't have time to, send, 2 emails a week. I don't have time to send 2 emails per month. I don't have time to send 1 email per month. And my response to that is bullshit. You absolutely have the time. You're just choosing not to make the time. And the reason why you're choosing not to make the time, this is a hard conversation to have, but listen, the reason why you're choosing not to make the time is because you don't know what you're doing. You don't know how to do the thing that I'm telling you that you should be doing. And so something that I want to recommend to you is this. Go to AI. Go to your favorite LLM, your language learning model, be it Grok or ChatGPT or Claude or Perplexity or whatever you're using, and start working with the AI to come up with a strategy, an ideation strategy on the type of content that you should be sending to your database on a bi-weekly basis. And to save you some time, I'll give you the 2 things that I recommend. Number 1 is a market update email that you send out on a monthly basis. I only want you focused on 3 different pieces of content or 3 different metrics, okay? 3 different statistical metrics. Number 1, days on market. Number 2, benchmark sales price. Number 3, absorption rate. So are you a buyer's market, a seller's market, a balanced market? Those 3. Take that information that you're going to pull from your MLS, go to your favorite AI software, put that information in, and then work with the AI to actually tell a story around that content, around those metrics that you put in there. Okay, now I want you to take that content that the AI has created and now start to do some edits on your own to make it your own before you copy, paste, and send. Oh, and pro tip, make sure you get rid of the em dashes. Those are those extremely long dashes in between words. People don't use those. I don't even know how to do that on my laptop on my computer. So make sure that those are totally erased and you're just putting commas in there instead of the actual dash. All right, so look, if you are struggling with writing email content, I feel you. It is not an easy thing to do and it takes practice, it takes time. But at the end of the day, this is the easiest way to communicate with your database at scale and get them to take actions that identify them as a potential lead. Again, this is so underutilized. It is something that I think every agent needs to have in their wheelhouse, and not just from the perspective of, oh, I'm going to put some content together using AI and I'm going to send it out every 2 weeks, but from the perspective of, I'm going to be very tactical. I'm going to be very strategic with it. I'm going to send out certain links inside of the email. I'm going to put them at different spots within the email itself to maximize the potential of getting clicks. And once I get those clicks, then I'm going to look at the analytics. I'm going to look at my open rates. I'm going to look at my click-through rates. I'm going to look to see who's actually clicking the links so that I can then reach out to those people and have deeper, more meaningful conversations with them to help them achieve those real estate goals and dreams that they may or may not have. Okay, so this is the thing. Email marketing is just one piece of the pie when it comes to your overall marketing strategy. If you want to break down your overall marketing strategy, if you want 30 minutes with me, totally free, go ahead and click that link down below in the description, schedule a time in, let's break down what it is that you're doing, we'll help identify the gaps, and from there move forward with a solid game plan, all within 30 minutes for you to be able to maximize this aspect of your real estate marketing machine.